Hey everybody, it's Chris Kirkpatrick with Life 180, and I'm here with my personal wealth coach and friend, Caleb Williams from...
In Denver, Colorado, by the way.
We got here to Denver. I took the flight up for the day, so we're spending all day, felt inspired. So we're doing something really cool for this series. I want to talk about something that I've been wanting to do a video series on for, I'm gonna say 5 years, probably. This is actually one of the first projects I ever really wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was telling Caleb about it. I wrote a PDF, a kind of ebook on this topic 5 years ago, and it's literally just been sitting in my Google Drive for 5 years, and I've done nothing with it. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a series on the perils or myths or whatever you wanna call it about your 401k. Now, I wanna be totally transparent. This is not gonna be some 401k bashing session or anything of that nature. If you watch any of my other content, it's all about education. I'm a huge believer nobody should invest in anything that they don't understand. What I will tell you is it's gonna be a bit contrarian. It's probably gonna challenge some of the things that you think to be true or have been taught about your 401k. But what I can also promise is on the back end of this, if you go through the series and you watch all the videos, you're gonna come out really questioning what you're doing, and you're probably gonna have a different perspective, and you're gonna think about things a lot differently. And one of the big things I always kind of tell people at Life 180, it's all about change your thinking, change your actions, change your life. If you want a different life, if you want a different result, it all starts with a change in your thinking. And that starts here when it comes to your 401k, because if your thinking around your 401k changes and you have the education and the knowledge that we share with you, you're gonna have no choice but to think about it differently, and that will in turn change your actions around it. So.
Yeah, and I just have to say it is a pleasure being in Denver with you.
It's awesome,
I pretty much flew him out because I'm like, dude, you've been talking about this for years, and we have a moral obligation. And just full transparency, just like Chris said, we are all about helping people change their life. And when we came together and said, what if we could help people start taking back control over their wealth? It was like a game changer.
For sure.
And yes, I will say, I got one of my Dan at our company this shirt.
401k not okay.
It's 401 not okay. And here's why. Just like what Chris said, you cannot just say anything bad about one thing or one product. It's a product, it's a tool.
It's a vehicle.
Quite frankly, if all you want to do is if you want a certain objective, it may be the best tool for you. But what we've realized, we've gone through some of the best education. Chris has an amazing document that we're going to go through, and this series is going to be incredible. And what we're just going to do is challenge the way that you're thinking and what you are holding on to potentially be truths in your life.
100%.
And it's going to be a lot of fun. So it's a pleasure being here, man. I'm
psyched to do this.
It's going to be exciting.
I have a lot of fun doing this with you. So and I don't want this to be like scripted and like just very technical. I really want. It's because, let's face it, a lot of decisions that we make around our money and why we do what we do with our money is an emotionally based thing. Now, it shouldn't be, but it is. And so it's important to understand why we make our decisions. And unfortunately, I don't think most people think about that deeply enough before they make that decision. And so we're gonna tackle a lot of that. But before I get into there, if you can switch to the computer screen here, I wanna talk about this, because this is one of the things that gets me super fired up about 401ks is everybody looks at the 401k as like the gospel of retirement and planning and investing, is like everybody thinks that that's the first place, and for most people it's the only place that they're saving for their retirement, which is sad but true, right? So, but here's the problem. I don't know if you know this or not, but the 401k is in its infancy when it comes to a product. I mean, literally, the 401k is younger than me. It came out in 1981, right? And as a side note, we're not gonna go down this route too much, but Caleb is older than a Roth IRA. Roth IRAs, everybody swears that they are the best vehicle. They weren't even created until 1998. So for me, one of the reasons when I first started doing this, and I no longer, do personal coaching, we do education and stuff, and that's why I work with Caleb now, because he does that. But one of the things that really got me fired up about this out of the gate is just, we haven't even seen a whole generation go through this, right? And I could never look at a client when I was doing this and look them in the eyes and, suggest anything to them that I would have questions about down the road. I never wanted to look at somebody.
What you told me, and it really stuck with me, is you're like, the 401k is a financial experiment.
It is. It's a total experiment.
We have a whole country in a vehicle that we've never actually tested.
Exactly. So let's get into the numbers about why we're putting this series together, because I think that's really important. And if you talk to any advisor, if you watch my other videos, you've probably heard this a lot, but they will tell you the average rate of return over a long period of time. The market's going to go up, it's going to go down. But if you buy and hold, and we're going to get into that in one of the videos, so I won't go into detail here, but if you buy and hold, they'll say that you're going to average about 8%. Now you can see on the screen in the bottom left here, it says average ROR over the period from 1968 to 2019. So we're going a 52-year period here, is 8.06%. Here's the challenge. Once again, it's another conversation altogether, but the real rate of return is actually 6.86%. And that may not seem like a big difference, but I promise you, when it comes to compounding and your wealth and all the elements that come into consideration for that, that is a massive difference, right? So that's first and foremost. The other thing is like when you look at 401ks, they started in 1980, well, in the early 80s. So let's go from 1980 to 1999. When you look at the numbers there, right? So the average rate of return from 1980 to 1999 was 14.63%. The real rate of return is actually really close because there weren't many negative years, was 13.98%, right? And so when you look at that number, that was a 20-year period. Let's think about why. I think it's really important to get into why. Let's look at the market when 401ks
let's do a history lesson.
Let's do a history lesson really quickly. In 1979, the federal funds rate was at over 19%, right? Paul Volcker had to jack up because inflation was out of control. So from 1980 to 1999, actually until 2009, but for the sake of this timeline we're giving, from 1980 to 99, interest rates were constantly going down.
Correct.
Right? We never had a year where interest rates went up. So if that's the case, what does that do? That puts more money into the markets, which makes investment markets and everything, real estate, stocks, everything goes up because there's more money that gets put into the market because of a reduction in interest rates.
Correct. So you have that going on, and then you also have the age and people taking from pensions, and now companies are going away from the pension plan and dumping it all into these 401ks. What is the 401k invested in?
Mutual funds, in the stock markets, and all the things that are investments. And so you had literally, like, it was almost like a switch got flipped. And all the money went from, it went from only sophisticated, savvy investors were in the market to everybody on Main Street was in the market. And it was literally the 1980, 1981 when that switch was flipped. And so when you look at that next 20-year period, it's crazy. And everybody thinks that those results are normal, and they're not, and they're just not. That this 14.63 return is crazy. So now let's take a look, because I'm a huge believer, and I've got another video on market history, and we'll like, you can go check that out. But and on the mortgages and interest rates and how all that looks. But let's take a look at 2000 to present, right? So this is insane. When you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average from 2000 to 2019, you're looking at a real rate of return of 4.65%.
Less than 5%.
Less, and that's taxable, right? Now, that money is going to be taxed because it's going in tax deferred, right? But you're going to pay taxes on it after. So you're talking about an after-tax rate of return if you're in a 25% tax bracket of just over 3%. That's crazy.
That's insanity.
It is insanity. And so the problem is, when you look at the history, that 2000 or 1980 to 1999, that 14%, that's kind of like a crutch that's holding the rest of the bookends of that time frame up. They're lower, and that elevates it. But when you look at why it was elevating it and what reality is outside of this one little bubble of, I'm going to call it manipulation. It wasn't really manipulation. It's just, it's circumstantial. Is what it is, right? And so when you look outside of that, that's reality, right? And so I don't know about you, but I personally believe that, and I know you believe the same thing, that the next 20 years are going to be much more indicative of the last 20 years than they were the 20 years.
I think they're going to be worse.
Well, I think they're going to be worse too.
Because number one, interest rates are most likely going to stay low. And you look at where our population, what's going to happen, Chris, when all the people that have, hit retirement are starting to take out money, my generation's broke. How are we going to even keep up with the market? Like, we have to think about interest rates. We also have to think about demographics. And if you take, ultimately, the stock market is supply and demand. And so we're covering, this is just one example. And it's interesting when we sit down with clients, when we talk to people, we think these last years have been amazing. And they have been.
Yeah.
And even with those these last couple of years, everyone knows that we can't keep this up. It's kind of like this elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about.
Yeah.
And then yet, it over this time period, it didn't even perform that well. You would think it would be like 8 or 9%.
Right. Well, it just goes to show the importance of avoiding losses, right? Like
Correct.
during this time, we had 2008, right?
Yep.
And 2009, that kind of that window of 16 months or so
Right.
there, where everything kind of like Chicken Little syndrome, everything
Totally.
hit the ceiling, right? And
Totally.
sky was falling, and it just, that one year can make every other good year just disintegrate, right?
Yep.
And that just shows when we talk about the importance of avoiding losses, and this is really why, because it's just absolutely catastrophic to your
Right.
retirement plan and the timing of that. I mean,
Right.
imagine if you were going into retirement at that point in time. That's why so many people are having to work, and like, I don't want to get on that soapbox.
Can I talk about the big philosophy of why I ask
Yeah.
people questions about the 401k?
Please.
So number one thing at our company, we talk about ROR, standing for return on result. That's it. 401k is a tool.
Yeah.
But when I can sit down with someone and say, Chris, what do you want in your life? Like, what do you want? What does a financial independence look like for you? What would you do if money wasn't an issue? You'd be here, by the way, because like, this is who you are.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
are truly
Yeah.
living a financially free life. And so if you get clarity on that, then the next question is, what tool can you do with your money, time, and talents? Really, it's three categories, but let's just look at money. What can you do with your money to help you show up powerfully in your life? And probably the biggest problem that I have with 401k is the lack of control that you have throughout your whole life.
Totally.
Our money is here to serve us. It's supposed to be a tool to invest in ourselves and the things that we're passionate about. And the thing about the 401k, yeah, we can look at the numbers, and I'm sure there's going to be, with people that have a match, and we'll probably get into that scam as well. I'm sure it'll be great, right?
Yeah.
It might give you a great rate of return, but you can't spend a rate of return. And so many people are feeling broke. They don't feel wealthy. Don't feel like they can live powerfully today because they have money tied up into an account they can't control. And so that's probably the biggest problem that I have is when we look at results, the 401k is not necessarily the best tool to leverage when it comes to your money to help you live the kind of results that you want.
So on the money. So I'm really excited to get into this, and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a video series. I think it's gonna be 10. I have 10 right now, but my guess is as we go through this, there may be 11 or 12. It is what it is. Like it'll be what it'll be, and we're gonna have fun doing it, and hopefully you'll learn some stuff. But if you're watching this video and you're intrigued by this, I do want to invite you. Caleb wrote an amazing book called The And Asset, and I think this is must read. To me, it's kind of, I mean this in the most complimentary way. It's kind of 101 in the sense of what we do.
Yeah, totally.
And that's the goal of it, is like, my wife read it, and my wife has been dealing with me in this industry for a long time now, and she read the book, and she said, you know what, like, it's the easiest to understand book on this topic, which is quite frankly not the most exciting topic for a lot of people. It may fire us up, but not everybody.
Yeah.
It's the easiest book to understand, and it makes sense, and it actually, I find people come out of reading this book and they find that they can apply it to their lives pretty straightforwardly.
Yeah.
If that's a word.
Totally.
And I know that was the goal, but I kind of like want to say it because it's not one of those books that's really complicated. And we believe, I know Caleb and I share this, that your personal finances, they don't need to be simple, but they should be simple to understand.
Totally.
Right? Like, we don't have the most simple financial lives, but they're simple to understand. Like, you could explain it to anybody. Like, it really, there are not a lot of moving parts that have to be there to manage it. So what I would encourage you to do, if you're intrigued by this, you want to learn more about it, go to the link below in the description. Just click on it. You'll be able to go get that book for free. Check it out. He's giving them away. He'll send it to you. I think all you got to do is pay shipping for the book. It's like $6.95 or $7.95 for shipping. Whatever it is. Just go there, get it. You'll love it. It's amazing. I think you can get it on Amazon too as well.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon for $20, or you can click the link below and get it for free.
There you go.
But essentially, there's 3 key themes: efficiency, compounding, and control. And I'm telling you, if we can help you be efficient and have that mindset of efficiency as it relates to your wealth, Like these principles you'll be able to do and build whatever you want to build, whether you're into business, real estate, whether you're into investing in the markets. It's really going to add a lot. I have a whole chapter on taxes. I'm sure we're going to have at least one video on taxes. So yeah, man, I'm thank you for even mentioning that. This, you can tell this is unscripted because we're just super passionate about bringing this. And it's always an adventure to see what's going to come out of it.
So bear with us as you go through this, because literally this is unscripted, and we just decided, you know what, let's just get together in a studio, film this, put it together, try to serve some people, add value, and hopefully give you the information that you're seeking. And if you have any questions, below every video there will be a link that will be there to assist you if you want to talk to somebody. Caleb's got a team of, by the way, non-commission paid people that will talk to you. They're not going to try to sell you anything to make a commission or anything of that nature. They're just there to serve and answer questions and help you. And if they can help you and maybe you want to work with them, there are obviously options for that, but it's really about education and service.
100%.
So anyway, that's it for this video. Go out there, crush it. We'll see you on the next video. Super excited to get into it.